Just as I told you just now, my brain's been rewired from my books. I think your brain.
We never got to really how or why.
What do you mean?
Like, I want to know rewired, and now this is how my brain works, and this is why it's radically different.
Well,
but I don't think it's PG enough for this podcast.
It's not.
Okay.
Please look at my For You page. Just scroll.
This is all it is.
Look at it. It's all fairy men. It's smut.
Yep.
It's AI fairies.
It's everyone just reading.
So here's what happens, y'all. I go to my For You to search for something. I'm like, oh, somebody pops in my head and I think, let me go look for that.
Yeah.
But then I get so distracted.
Yeah.
I forget what I was going to do because now I'm just looking at all these reels of people that are also obsessed with these books, and it's rewired their brains.
I'm sure it has.
But there's a girl, I got on here because I saved something yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. A girl put into words what I'm saying here. Oh, the way Sarah J. Maas filled a void I never knew existed.
It really, it's that impactful.
I think so.
A void that you never knew existed.
So far, yes.
And this is your first foray. I mean, take 50 Shades out because that was like a real, it was humans.
Yeah.
Right.
This is my first fantasy series.
This is your first, and it will be mine as well.
Yes, and actually,
I'm on page 5.
Okay. You know what Matt said to me? He said, because I said, Miranda's going to start reading them, and he said, do you think that she is a fantasy girly? Is she going to be able to kind of get herself into this world? And I said, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Because I've never read the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, I've never read the Harry Potter books.
I haven't read The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or what's the other one that they made the TV show about?
I don't know.
Escaping my mind. Game of Thrones. I've never read any of those. So I never.
But you've watched all of them.
I've watched them, and so it's not like I've never been ew, fantasy, but I've just never read fantasy books.
I haven't even watched those.
But now I get it. That's what I'm saying. It's not about all the physical stuff. I am getting what's going on here with the people that just go hard into fantasy. And I'm saying even the people that want to cosplay and dress up and go to the events and all the things.
Are you going to start going to conventions? Fantasy book conventions. No judgment. We go to Heroes Con. We love a convention.
We like a convention.
Absolutely.
Y'all know I like any excuse to dress up.
Yeah, you love a theme.
I love a theme.
Yes.
So I don't know.
You probably already have everything to dress as a fairy. I mean, you were the Tinkerbell fairy.
Yeah. I was the Zarina, the Tinkerbell fairy.
Yeah.
I would have to get some bat wings for Matt.
Oh.
Don't have that.
You don't have bat wings for Matt yet?
I know. 6 foot tall bat wings. Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, so those are coming. Yeah, I'm on page 5. There's just, of book 1, there's just a lot of foraging. I feel like that she's talking about needing to find the food to take back to the land.
Yes.
And we're 5 pages of just that.
Yeah.
And so I know.
You got to get it. It's a lot of story building.
I know. I got to stick with it. But I have picked up the book 3 times and gotten to page 5. So I do need it to pick up the pace. Somebody did say to me that there's an app I can get, and it connects with your public library card.
Oh.
And you can check out the audiobooks of all of these for free. Instead of having to wait for the physical books,
I want to
buy them all.
I want to know what these audiobooks sound like.
I know. So I think I'm going to try that. I feel like I'll have better success listening.
Yes, I think so.
Than stopping and sitting down and reading. And
also,
I love to read physically. I really do.
I know. And it is so good for the brain. But
I know.
But also with audiobooks, you can go and do other things while you are listening, which is nice.
And I need to catch up.
Yeah. You need to catch up because
the only way I can do that is audio.
Yeah, I'm about a third through the 3rd book. They're big books.
Slow down.
I know. Listen, I can finish and then just.
Matt's out of town anyway.
I know. Y'all,
Aren't you busy?
He's out of town.
Do you want to get all revved up?
I don't want to get revved up.
So
relax. But I can't stay away.
Okay.
It's a problem. It's filling the void.
Obviously. Well, I don't know that I have a void, but like you said, you didn't know you did either.
Yes. So I'm just saying, you know
Okay.
what? I'm 40 and I'm discovering new things about me still every day.
You're 40, flirty, and thriving, or whatever it is.
We need to come up with a cute one for that.
Yeah, I do think so. It was when
What?
in the last few days.
What?
In the last few days on the gram, I have been sharing what happened. How did we get on the subject of people not knowing our podcast was about anything other than Bravo?
We y'all.
What happened? What was the thing I posted and people were like, "Oh, well, consider me." Oh,
What was it?
so one person sent me a DM saying, "I really wanted to thank you for what you said about the police officers."
Yes.
And what you said about the fact that they will still answer the call no matter what you've said on social media about them.
Yes. And we had a really good response from people about
Really great response.
Yeah.
And let me take that even one step further.
Yeah.
So in that episode, I had even said like, you know, there are problems in churches. There are problems in schools. There are bad people everywhere.
Mhm.
And I think what people hear in that is, well, then I just won't go to church. I'll just homeschool my kid.
No.
Okay? So you can say all of that, right? You can, oh, you don't like the food system here? Then you'll just grow your own crops and you'll have a cow. And okay, all of that maybe you can manage. But I'm telling you, you can't live without the police.
Well,
You
that's
can't.
true.
So you might say, well, all these systems are broken, Miranda, but guess what? I don't have to use them. Okay, but you do actually, even if you don't think you are, people think, oh, well, I haven't called 911. Police hasn't responded.
Oh,
to
yeah.
me. Okay, they're doing stuff all day, every day to protect and serve.
To keep you safe and you don't even know it.
Yeah, the things that you don't know.
That's
And
true.
I compare it to the military. A lot of people think that we just have soldiers who go to war, and that's what the military does.
No.
That is a fraction of what they do. The things that don't happen to our country on a daily basis is because of the military patrolling, let's say the Coast Guard patrolling the waters.
Yes.
Like things,
The guys out on the ships in the middle of the ocean.
things are trying to happen to us.
I know.
There are things that other countries and bad people within are trying to do, and they're figuring it out. They don't figure it all out, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're trying to figure
It's
the
like
majority of it
an
out.
invisible force.
Yes.
Like I think in some ways they do feel unseen.
Yes.
And if you are not part of a military family, you're just totally detached from that, you never think about it. But if you are the sister or the parent of one of these young men and women going into the military, you think about it all the time.
You do think about it all the time. And the things that I hear and am told, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how close it got to this.
Right.
That's how close. Oh, you shot something down out of the air yesterday.
Isn't that terrifying?
So it's stuff like that you don't think of, but the police are doing that on a local level.
Yes.
They are serving warrants. They are getting people off the streets. They are doing all
Yeah.
of these things. But not only that. Okay, let's take the scary stuff out of it. Have you gone to a concert lately?
Yep.
Do you like the police being there to get as many people out as possible instead of having to rely on the 32-second lights?
That's right.
Okay, so they helped there
Yep.
with you, right?
Yep.
At your concert.
And
But
even
no,
just
no, no,
patrolling the concert to
Yeah.
make sure no one is going to open fire on the crowd or
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
just to have somebody there.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you did use them.
Yeah.
You just don't notice it. It's just they're just there.
Yeah.
But they're there and they hate patrolling traffic.
I bet they do.
They do not like to do that. They don't.
Yes.
But they do it for us. They do it for us
They
to have
do.
some sort of ease.
It's a public servant.
It
They're
is.
standing outside of the high school while it lets out for
Yep.
30 minutes. They're standing there
And letting your kids cross the
waving
street.
traffic. Yeah.
And waving traffic. Like those are the ways in which they're showing up to the community. So you might say, defund them. I'm not using them.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not going to call them. If I'm in an emergency, I'll figure it out. Okay. Well, you are using them.
Yes.
Trust and believe that. They are there and it might seem invisible, but you can't get away with not. And so that's why it's so important for me to continue to use our platform and say they are unsung heroes
Yes.
many, many, many times. And I'm not going to keep repeating myself by saying, of course, there are bad eggs. We can say that in every single profession.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my soapbox there. Just had to hop back on it because people are like, well, then I just don't use them. I just don't call them. Okay, you're using them even when you don't think you are.
Who is saying, to me, I would never say that out loud because to me, you are inviting trouble to your door by saying that. By saying, well, I'll just never use them. Mm-hmm. Well, what's going to happen to you in the middle of the night tonight? Don't say that. Don't put that out into the universe. That is inviting trouble to come to you. Someone could rear end you.
Yeah, someone could rear end you.
I think unless you're pulling a Joshua Miller and moving to Medicine Bow in the middle of nowhere, can you actually be someone who's completely off the grid, right? I mean, unless you're doing that, but even still.
We still need them.
Police are still helpful in that way.
But
I'm
go
saying
to like the 4-H club. I'm sure they'll be there. I'm sure they'll be there.
But Josh, really, he's like, fine, I won't use the schools.
Yeah.
I won't use the churches. I'll grow my own crops. He's the guy saying that.
I know, but he's still using all of the stuff here in Charlotte. Trust and believe.
Do you feel like, is it weird that a year has passed? Like, we're ticking down.
I know.
A year has ticked by, my friends.
A year has ticked by, but I still think Lily's just a freshman. I got time.
Okay.
I got time. I don't think about that.
I've been thinking about it.
I know,
but how are we going to make this work?
We're going to make it so big that we're going to be traveling all the time. We're going to be doing live shows constantly. Yeah. You're going to get sick of me.
No.
Prepare to be sick of me.
Our podcast studio can be just somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Let's look on a map. Don't ask me. I'm not good at geography. But let's look on a map. We'll pick a place that sounds interesting. And that's where we'll record.
Yeah, that sounds realistic.
Listen, I'm in fantasy.
We act as if Zoom doesn't exist.
I know, but it's not the same.
It's definitely not the same.
You know that.
It's definitely not the same. Like I said, we're going to be traveling and doing all these live shows, and we're going to be recording wherever we are.
Yes.
So we have a show in Cincinnati that weekend. We're recording there for next week's episode.
All our Cincinnati girls, let's go.
Hey. That's where my dad's from. It was the first city that popped in my head. Cincinnati.
Actually, you listened to a podcast recently where they were all on Zoom, and it wasn't great, you said.
Well, I struggled because on Zoom, you can't tell when the other person's going to talk, and the microphone picks up who they think is talking. And so it's just a lot of like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yes, because there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay. And we even had that with Landon. We had it with Danny.
That's true.
A little bit of that happens, but at least when the two of us are in the same room, we can control that audio. Yes. Whereas if 3 different people are on Zoom, or y'all know that people here on Teams meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
For those corporate jobs that we don't understand.
The girls that hate Mondays, actually.
Yeah, those girls. Okay, so we were talking about the cops, and that prompted someone to DM me who was like, thank you so much for speaking about that. It's really important to me in my life.
Okay.
And it touched me very personally and deeply. And I got to admit that it was the first episode of yours I've ever listened to because I thought that you were a Bravo only podcast.
What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? I don't think we're doing anything wrong. I think we're pretty clear about what we podcast about.
I don't know. So I took a screenshot of that.
And then you posted that.
And I didn't share, who it was from or anything like that. I always protect people's identities. Not that she didn't say anything wrong. And I didn't either. But, and I shared that. And the amount of DMs that came in from there expressing the same sentiment of, well, consider me a new listener as well because I don't watch Bravo.
You're like,
so I
wrote. We have hundreds of episodes that do not mention Bravo one time.
So I write back to the second one because I can see we DM all the time.
Yeah.
I know her name. I know her handle the second it comes in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl. So all those times that I have shared literally every episode.
All the reels.
Over here. All the reels.
Yeah.
And I even add a little extra caption that says, in this one, I give a weight loss update.
Yes.
In this one, we talk about, me pooping myself in a porta-john. And this, whatever. Like, if I say that and I share that, do you think that's Bravo related?
No.
No, right? Like, or do you think that I'm just like, it's all Bravo, and then I'm going to give a weight loss update.
Okay, maybe that's what they think. You're just lobbing in a little personal info.
Okay, that's not it.
Hey, if you're new here, welcome.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's go. You're here now.
It's not just Bravo. Not only is it not just a Bravo podcast, but our Bravo podcasts are labeled Bravo Rush.
Yeah, we keep that separate now.
We keep it separate because Jack really was like, I don't know how many more of these I can sit through.
Yes, I need my we do not care button because there's many of you do not care. We recognize that, and I get it.
And we kept it separate, and okay, so that. But I still stand by the fact that because our tangents are so crazy, and often, that even when we're talking about Bravo, we're veering.
You guys, the train.
Mm-hmm.
The train of truth.
Mm-hmm. The train of truth.
That might have been it.
But the train of truth is saying, yes, this isn't a Bravo podcast.
Yes.
We just talk about it every...
There it is.
There it is. We just talk about it every now and again. But even on the full-blown Bravo Rushed episodes, there are nuggets of stuff that we talk about because we veer off course.
There's people that don't watch Bravo that still listen to them. Like your cousin Alex is like, I'm going to just still listen to this. I don't care.
She just likes to hear us talk about anything. Yeah, she doesn't listen to it. She doesn't watch any Bravo.
No, but
and my dad didn't either, y'all. And he still listened to every single episode just for support.
Yes, after we went to BravoCon, he did. He listened to all of those recaps, which is so nice.
He did. So I'm not sure if he's listening to the Bravo Rushed, but the point being, it's possible because there's still so much else we're discussing. But what it did is it opened up my eyes.
Yeah, here's your eyes.
Yep.
Right here on the side of your head.
These are my Jack's taps.
The third eye. Tap it. I don't know what third eye is, but we're tapping.
We don't either. But what it did is I'm trying to look inward. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to say, how am I not communicating this correctly then? So if there are multiple people who think this.
Yeah. Who are willing to voice it to you. So to me, I'd say let's take the
And I'm glad they did.
The 10x multiplier on that number.
Correct. Because there's probably a lot of people who felt the exact same way but didn't want to admit it.
Yes.
Especially after I shared that second one. I was like,
hello.
How are you missing all of this?
This thing on?
Yeah. Tap, tap, tap. But I want to make sure that I'm communicating this correctly. So if you are a longtime listener and want to be a first-time caller into the HoHo, I would love for you to tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Call us.
This is an open forum.
Yes.
I can take it.
Okay.
I'm tough.
Okay.
I am calloused. Please explain to me, if you follow me on Miranda and CLT and you listen to the podcast, will you call into the HoHo and tell me how people think that after 150 plus episodes that this is only a Bravo podcast?
No.
And I'm willing to hear it out, and you can remain anonymous. We don't see who calls.
Yeah, we can't tell who it is.
Most of the time we have no clue who the voice is.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's going to be hurtful, this is an easy way to do it. In the DMs, we see who you are, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So
it's true. This is a great way.
Please call into the HoHo. It's 1-877.
No idea.
Hold on. I know it. 1-877. Pull up our Instagram because it's in our bio. 1-877-914-6464.
She did it. And that's the power of the brain.
Yeah.
See, what did I tell you? This girl, she's like,
we're
gonna dig deep.
We are.
Into those folds, and we're going to pull out the information.
That's right, and there's plenty of folds to be digging in under these saggy titties.
Under the titties.
And under all the loose skin on the stomach. But
1-877-914-6464. Call the HoHo. Call the HoHo about anything. You can literally tell us anything that's on your mind, anything. Because I'll get voice memos from people in my life personally who have a reflection, have a thought, and I love all of those. And so I'm like, surely there's other people who could just call the HoHo.
Yes, and it's nice because it puts it all in one place.
Yes.
And sometimes we can't play back the voice notes.
That's true.
So, call into the HoHo. Tell us anything you want, but especially here. And I'm not trying to be mad about it. I'm really trying not to be mad about it because at first I was like, is anybody paying attention? Does anybody listen to me? Like, I feel like I'm trying so hard to communicate correctly.
Papa, can you hear me?
And I don't think Papa can.
Papa's not listening.
I don't think so.
Father Time and Papa Noel. They're out of here.
And also,
take a look around. Do you see them anywhere?
I don't.
You're not gonna.
Okay. So this is it was a little bit of that where I was just like, how am I not communicating this correctly? I need to put this on myself.
Okay.
But then there was the part of me that said, and Kristin and I talked about it,
Yes.
that even if you thought it were a Bravo podcast,
Yes.
if you want to support me,
Yes.
if you follow me and you followed me for years and you really like me and you know that it would be helpful just to give it a couple minutes to download one episode.
Yeah.
Like what that means to someone, to see that number, to see that support.
Yes.
Just even if you're not into it, but to give it a shot, to just say, Miranda, we know this is really important to you. This is a new business you started.
Yes.
You and Kristin have clearly been working really hard because we're seeing all of that.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just give it a try?
Yeah,
why wouldn't you put 2 minutes into it and just say, hey, maybe it's something I could learn to at least like to listen to them talk about, even if I'm a little lost. And then maybe you would see that it's not actually a Bravo podcast and all of a sudden I've been hooked.
Correct. And what I said to you is it's a super, like the easiest way for people to support you.
Yeah.
Because in the very, very least,
Yeah.
all they have to do is go to our page and subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah.
If they just subscribe, and they're getting those downloads, whether they listen to it or not, that just is really nice for us.
Yeah.
Those numbers are
So
great.
helpful.
So even if these people were just like, I absolutely will not listen to podcasts, very minimal effort. I mean, they don't have to drive anywhere.
No.
They don't have to pay any money.
No.
They don't have to get dressed.
No, you don't have to buy a ticket. You don't have to download. I mean,
You literally are just
it's
pushing
just a download.
You're pushing plus.
Yeah.
It's a plus sign.
You push a plus sign and it automatically downloads.
And that's it.
And
So that's all
it.
they need to do. And so I need these folks, if they're not going to show up to your funeral,
No.
they can at least download this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I'll take that. I'll have an empty church or an empty whatever. I don't know if the Lord is letting me in. But maybe just a subscribe or rate it 5 stars.
Yeah,
or,
you can also give it a rating. You don't even have to write anything. You can just rate
You
it.
can just rate it. But I do wonder, but it goes back to kind of what I was saying in that funeral episode is like, I feel like I make myself extremely available to my followers.
Yes.
Extremely.
You give a lot. And I do know that there's many on the other side that take a lot.
Yes.
And that's okay. I think that you've positioned yourself in such a way.
I've made myself maybe too available.
Yeah, but it's, this is the give and take of it all.
It is.
And so, but this is a way that they can give.
Yeah, this is. So if I DM you every time, if I answer your questions and I've poured something into you, if I've helped sleep train your baby, if I have sent you recipe after recipe after recipe,
Please.
even though I've put it somewhere, but like even if I do that and if I help you through a parenting hardship that you're having, and if I pour into you, like I'm just asking bare minimum to give this huge thing in my life a shot.
Yeah.
Which is this podcast.
When you were posting all of this yesterday, did you get responses from other people that you didn't end up sharing that were just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. Let me download. Let me subscribe. Like, were other people
were like,
realizing?
I'm really not a podcast. No, the majority of people after I posted those two were like, you're my favorite podcast, and I have no clue how people didn't realize that it wasn't
great.
a Bravo.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, there were a lot of people like, huh? Like, how would anybody gather that?
Okay.
But again, Instagram doesn't show every single one of my stories to every person every
That's
day.
true. Well, you know what makes
maybe they're just seeing tiny bits.
it's bumped you like 10 back.
Really?
Not every time. I should say not every time. Most of the time I'd say pull it up. It's you. It's Jen Davis. It knows who I'm close with. But yesterday, because I think I wanted to go see if you had posted from the event, whatever. And I had to scroll it over.
Ooh.
You were like 11th or 12th.
How the mighty have fallen.
And I thought, what?
I guess because I've talked about police. I've talked about the Independence Fund.
That's not okay, Instagram.
That's my only guess.
And you also talk smack about them making people pay.
I did. I did.
For more visibility. So maybe
I'm getting punished.
They penalized you a little
right.
bit.
I did. I did go a little hard on the gram about the whole, maybe they're hiding me ever since I went on my rant about the fact that now Instagram is rolling out tiered things. So it wasn't enough. So
Yes.
let's get into this since we're talking about it. It wasn't enough to have to buy the blue check mark for $15 a month, which they kind of pretended was going to like verify you.
Yes.
You get a badge. Now everybody knows that you're legit, but like every single person could buy that.
Yes.
So like everyone's a legit verified badge celebrity.
Well, it became meaningless.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Now I know that there's going to be a bunch of people, no, it's for the insurance, it's for the protection if I get hacked. And then now I know that I'll have a direct line to Instagram. Mark himself will be chit-chatting with me.
No.
He's going to rescue my account. And I know at least one girlfriend who that definitely did not happen to when her account got hacked. Now other people have said, I do know someone and it did help them. Okay, fine, great. I'm just saying one for one and one.
Yeah.
That's not, you're paying a lot of money. $15 a month adds up.
Yeah.
And essentially, I mean, they made billions of dollars. They've made billions of dollars on this
with a B
since they rolled it out. But that's not enough for Instagram. It's not enough because they're so greedy. So now they're about to roll out a tiered system. So you already have to pay your $15 a month for the verified blue check.
Yes.
And then if you want more of your reels to be shown, then you're going to have to pay another $30 a month. Then if you want to be able to put links on your reels.
Yes.
Okay. Links on your reels instead of people having to comment something to get a direct DM.
So on the reel, it's actually like a little sticker.
Yes. And now you'll be able to tap that. So then that's the next amount. The highest tier that they're offering, $350 a month.
You know people are going to pay it.
They absolutely are going to pay it.
These big accounts, they're going to pay it for sure.
These big accounts, because they're making $1 million plus in affiliate link income. So $350 is nothing to them. And they're going to view it as like marketing dollars.
This is why your bubble has moved.
Why?
Because whoever's popping up for me in front of you, I bet has paid. Because it's like it's bigger accounts.
Yeah, maybe.
Literally bigger accounts where I'm like, I never see this person's stuff. Where did this come from?
That's it. Then
their bubble's popping up ahead of yours. That's why.
Because Instagram rolled it out to certain accounts, but not others. So they're doing a slow rollout to see. And so those girls probably are in the first wave.
Because I've been like, oh, that's weird that it's showing me this.
So these girls who are already making $1 million in affiliate income a month are now going to make $3 million a month or whatever.
So they've got the cash flow to pay the $350.
Yes. And I understand it's business, right? So many businesses put money into marketing.
Yeah.
Many businesses would view it as that. But my thing is, if no one had fallen for the blue check mark crap, then Instagram would have been like, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
So then so they would have said, well, that no one's going to buy extra exposure. So now we aren't going to roll it out. And it's just never going to be enough.
Yeah.
It's always going to be. So then, in 2 years, it's going to be $1,000 a tier. It's going to be $3,000.
And the rich get richer. Like that's how this is all working.
Yeah.
And it makes that big divide more and more and more of people that can afford it and can do it and are like, this is marketing dollars, and the rest of us that can't.
Yeah, and everyone's just going to continue to pad their pockets.
Well, that's great.
Yep. So I'm not out of principle.
I'm happy for all the other podcasts that can afford to promote their crap, and we can't.
You're right. So it's going to happen on the business side of this too.
Yeah.
For the podcast. So not just me in the influencing space, but it's going to be in the podcasting. And I mean, the amount of people who wrote me after I ranted on my stories about that were like, I'm barely able to pay the $15 a month for my badge.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, the fault is really, if no one fell for that the first time, then they wouldn't think that they could try it again.
Yeah.
But because so many did, because I think that the stat was 45 million people bought the blue check mark on day one that it was offered.
Yeah.
Then of course many the days after, because if you see someone with a blue check mark, then maybe you want a blue check mark.
It's all about the dollars. Like we say a lot where it's like, you can vote with your dollars, right? Let's say you're trying to boycott a company for whatever reason or trying to really make a statement. You do that with your dollars. But collectively as humans, it's really hard for all of us to do that. I think about like the Wegmans we were talking about with the groceries and all the things. It would take everybody in that area refusing to shop anywhere else and only shopping at Wegmans to send a message. Right. And so it stinks because we have the power. Yep. No one's stopping us all from doing this, but it means we would all have to do it.
Yeah. And there's never going to be, because there's always going to be people who genuinely care about having a blue check. I just can't. It's not in my soul to care about having a blue check.
You have your convictions.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't mean anything to me. And I also, but it's also because I don't lead with fear of my account being shut down or anything like that.
Sure.
I'm very careful. Links I click on, emails I get.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been hacked in all this time because, trust me, people have tried. I mean, I get the crazy emails. I get the brand deals. I get all the things.
Yes.
And then I look at the email address.
And it's shady.
And it's shady.
Yeah.
Or I click on the link and it prompts me to go log into Instagram. And I'm like, I don't need to log into Instagram. I'm already logged into Instagram.
I'm glad that you're always on high alert.
I'm always vigilant.
Yes, vigilante.
Yes, and on high alert. And you're not going to catch me slipping. So in addition, you're not going to catch my $15 a month.
Okay, so speaking of all of this, I forgot. So Gigi had said she was chatting with a friend of hers who's also a podcat.
Mm-hmm.
And they had listened to when we talked about the Wegmans and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And her friend said, something we need to be mindful of,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you're right, is while yes, there's corporate profits and like we can say there's maybe some corporate greed and like the profits are increasing year after year, there like inflation is still absolutely like a thing driving up prices.
Yes,
And
for sure.
let me figure out how to say this.
Okay.
There are big accounts and influencers, a lot on TikTok especially, who are being paid
Yes.
to say
Yeah.
that the economy is stable. There is no inflation. Everything's fine. Go shopping. Trying to kind of get in our minds and manipulate what we know is true.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a form of gaslighting.
It is. And so there are these big accounts taking $15,000, $30,000 a month from the powers that be to push propaganda.
Correct.
And so what we have to remember is it isn't always just the corporate greed. Sometimes it is. But a lot of this is stemming from inflation has skyrocketed in this country.
Yeah.
It just has, like it or not, believe me or not, it's just the truth.
Yeah.
And
well, Dana did voice note.
Okay, what did Dana say?
Okay, so
is Harris Teeter going to come to the rescue?
I don't know. She did bring it up in a meeting that she was headed to that day, though. So she listened to our podcast.
Wow.
She voice noted
Look
me.
at us.
I know. Look at us. Like, are we change makers?
We're making
whoa
waves.
Yeah, we are. Not about Bravo. So now every time I share something, I'm going to be like, here's another thing we're talking about. And it's not Bravo.
Not Bravo at all.
So she said something to keep in mind is that during COVID, that grocery stores were the only things open.
Yes.
So when people stopped eating out, all the money that went to their restaurants that fund that week went to grocery stores because they were the only things open. And so just a numbers game alone is why the profits were so high.
Interesting. Okay.
Because if you were the type to eat out 2 times a week, my family,
at
least yours, I know for sure.
Multiple times.
Yeah. And that restaurant would have gotten 100 of your dollars.
Yeah.
Well, now it's closed.
Yeah.
So you're going to go to the grocery store and you might not be buying a $100 dinner there.
No.
But even if it's $20
to
make a dinner,
that you wouldn't have spent
that's
otherwise.
20 Harris Teeter would not have gotten. And so it was just a numbers game.
And I do wonder, like, off of that, have more people just pulled back from restaurants in general? Maybe people learned to cook. Maybe people realized the value of eating at home. And so over time.
She said that trend has continued.
Yeah, I bet.
That people still don't eat out as much as they did before.
Yes.
And that the grocery stores are still getting a portion of those dollars that were spent elsewhere.
That's interesting.
So that's going to be a big reason. She also mentioned that sometimes vendors set the price. Like Harris Teeter can set the prices of their items.
You're right.
But that the vendors can set the prices of theirs.
So Harris Teeter has to buy the food from them.
Correct. So when I buy Raisin Nut Bran twice a year because now I can't afford it anymore, and it's $7.69 for a small box, but it's so good.
It's so good.
And it helps me poop. So when I buy, I mean, that it was not that much a couple years ago. I know that it still was never the cheapest because it's a name brand and it's I guess a bougie cereal. Who knew Raisin Nut Bran?
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah, But it's not like it's like one of those organic small bags of
No.
whatever. I'm not doing gluten-free.
Yeah, those are like $12.
This is just Raisin Nut
and
Bran.
it's like 4 bowls in a box.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but she said like vendors set the prices on that. You know, it's a
Interesting.
General Mills cereal. It's not a Harris Teeter cereal. So, and then she also said things like, if you are shopping with Instacart or things like that, that I believe, and I've literally never had my groceries delivered, not once in my life. I've never used one of those apps, but I think she said on one of them, you can't even put your VIC card in.
Yeah, you cannot.
You can't?
Mm-mm.
So you're
At
not
least
getting those savings?
I don't think so. And I never use Instacart for Harris Teeter.
Okay.
Because I can always do the online ordering.
Okay, so you just online order from Harris Teeter.
And then I just go pick it up.
Okay.
But every now and again, it may be that I do need something quick from like the Food Lion that's right there next to me.
Yeah.
And I could have it delivered. Having the groceries delivered is a game changer. It really is great. But
she did say that there's a cost to that.
I
so
get that.
If people are like, oh my gosh, food costs have gone up, but maybe it's your habits have
Yeah,
changed.
for
Instead of going to the
sure.
grocery with a list and sticking to it and picking things out yourself, you are opting for convenience, and that's okay, but it comes with a price.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can't put your VIC card in. Maybe there's a delivery fee. Then you have to tip.
Yep.
And, things like that.
And you almost order more because I think when you're in the store, you can see it.
Yeah.
You see my cart is full.
Uh-huh.
But when you're doing the online ordering,
It's just
you're
click,
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 click, click, just add to cart, add to cart, add to
Yeah.
cart. And then you go get it and you're like, oh God,
Yeah.
what did I do?
Well, she said there's a lot of things that go into it, but she said you've brought up a really great point. My point to her was, and I loved Anna. She's like, I'm trying not to get defensive, but to be educational and to really listen.
Oh, no, I thought that she would come with like information, which is what we want.
Exactly, and she did. But she just lives and breathes this so much. I know how
Yes.
deeply like important it is to her. So, I definitely was like, we weren't coming. I just
No. We said we want Harris Teeter to be the hero.
We do want them to be. So that was my point, is that I just had, I guess, kind of relegated my brain to, this is just what it is now.
Yeah.
This is what the prices are. We're just now spending $8 a box on cereal, and it's never going to come down because not because inflation, and they know we'll pay it. And so
Right.
here we are again. Unless all of us decide we're not going to grocery shop this
That's
week,
it.
then there's nothing that we can do.
If everybody said we're only going to go to the farmer's market this weekend and we're going to shop locally and we're just going to like stick it to the man.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, those things really could drive prices down because companies still need to make money. It's like with the gas stations,
Yeah.
right? They're on the different opposite corners, but they're raising prices against each other.
Exactly.
So-
or lowering to get you there.
So if we all decide we're going to go to the lower one,
Mhm.
then the other one is forced to bring that price down.
Correct.
And so the people have the power, but
Yep.
we just don't know how to wield it.
We don't, that's for sure. And she said, but I said, I just had, succumbed to the fact that this is the way it is. But then that Wegmans commercial came out, and I said, wait,
Right?
oh, you can roll them back.
I mean,
Like, if you raise them for a specific reason, and now you're lowering them back down because you can.
yeah.
And so it just got in my mind, like, well, if they can other people? And that's the reason why I brought it up. And we don't have one here, so I
know.
can't testify to whether they are or they aren't, if
Yeah.
this is really accurate, or if it's like one of those other sales where they bump the prices up just to drop them down, and it gives you the
Yes.
illusion that you're saving money. But she was just like, you bring up a really interesting point, and I'm going to take it, and I'm headed to Charleston for a meeting right now, and I'm going to bring it up.
That's great.
So
Y'all, if the prices come down at
Yeah.
HT, if
just know it's because of us.
it's because of us.
Yeah.
We are not only bringing prices
Yep.
down, we are getting people to donate blood and save lives.
Oh my gosh, that too. Yeah.
Tell people that we're a life-saving podcast. Say it.
Okay.
Say it.
This is how we are a life-saving podcast. One of our podcasts listened to our blood donation episode. I don't know which one that was, but we talked about blood donation.
Yep.
And she DM'd us and said, I went and donated blood because of y'all today. And not only that, she signed up for her next appointment while there.
And so that saves
6 lives.
6
So
lives.
Every blood donation can save up to 3 lives, depending on how many people need
Right.
blood. And so right there, she could potentially save 6 people's lives. And that is so amazing because of this year podcast.
Love that.
Yes. So when we feel like, what are we doing?
Yeah. There are those days.
What are we doing?
We actually had that a little bit this week
Yep.
where, well, you went to a podcasting event
Yep. I went to like a podcasting meetup.
here in Charlotte. Apparently there's a lot of Charlotte podcasts.
There are so many Charlotte podcasts.
And they keep kind of popping up.
Yep.
And there's people here and there. Thankfully, we have secured the Bob Award.
Yeah, thank God.
Woo. Wiping the sweat from my brow on that
I know. We really snuck in there when we could. Each by.
That's why I said, I don't care if we ever win again, but at least we won this one time.
Meanwhile, I'm like, we have to retain our win next year.
But
maybe Harris Teeter will win Best Podcast Award like they did after my bakery.
Yes. What if Harris Teeter started a podcast? You can start a podcast on anything. I mean, you can.
You can. You can absolutely do it. Oh, this is what I was going to say. And I said this to Dana too, is like, here, the bottom line is whether Wegmans is even telling the truth or not, they got us talking about it and we don't even have one.
They did.
They got me.
They got free advertising.
They got me talking about it.
Yeah.
And we don't even have one.
Yeah.
Wegmans literally can't mean anything to me because we don't even have one. And yet that commercial worked for me. So I said to her, you need to let HT know that.
Yeah.
Because we could be talking about HT that way, which I know we already talk about them all the time, but we could be talking about them that way in the same way that Wegmans did this.
Convincing people to shop there if the prices are lower.
Drop that little nugget in there to them. And she did say there are hundreds of our items that are lower than even Walmart.
Oh.
So please know Harris Teeter is trying to do what they can. Their apples do taste better than a Walmart apple.
Oh,
I will
100%.
defend that. Walter, the farmer.
I'd say produce across the board.
100%.
Yeah.
I do try to get my produce at the farmer's market because I live right there.
Yeah, you do.
But anyway, so back to blood donation. So the girl writes us this. I'm like, oh my gosh, what was this your first time?
Mm-hmm.
And tell me all the things. Tell me all the things. Like what got you there?
Mm-hmm.
What did we say that got you there? Was it worse than you expected?
Yes.
Was it better than you expected?
Yes.
And she was like, it was my first time.
Yep.
It was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Easy.
So easy. She said that she is a mom of small kids and that even though it's on her heart to volunteer,
yes,
she just doesn't have the capacity right now to volunteer. 100% get that. Mm-hmm. But she said, and she's like, of course you always know that you can donate blood, but I never really think about it.
Yeah.
And then when you guys said it, it was like a tugging on my heart to look into it. She loved that the app tells you where it's going.
The app is where it's at.
Yeah.
That's how you schedule it.
Yes.
That's where it saves your blood type and all of your information.
It tells you how many times you've donated and how much it is.
Yes.
And I love that. Like, I love that competition side of it. And then, it tells you where it goes. And so that's what's so cool about using the Red Cross app. And so she just said, like, it was 100% a great experience.
That's great.
And had already signed up for her very next appointment. And she's the type who will become a regular at this. And again, shoulder some of that burden.
So nice.
For the people who can't, who legitimately can't.
We need a podcast blood drive.
Yes. So I talked to Ren's Village.
Yes.
And they have one coming up. And it's weird to say coming up in September, but September is only a couple months away.
Oh, gosh. What is happening? What is time? I
know. Summer's right in between there, but it always flies by.
Yeah.
So anyway, they have one coming up in September. I will make sure to get the exact date and share it. And I would love if we could get a big podcast team.
Do it. Let's set up a podcast table. People can come.
I would love that. So that's Ren's Village has one coming up. And then also something about the Red Cross app is you can have a team on it. So I think what we're going to do is start a podcast team on the Red Cross app. And that way we can all kind of see each other, help keep each other accountable, and just root for each other to go and make a difference in this way. So if you're someone who wants to be on the podcast team, let us know in the DMs or something like that. And I'll make sure that you get added.
We'll screenshot the team page, share it. And then
the link I'm sure is just a sign up type thing.
Can jump in.
That'd be
cool.
But I love you for going out, for listening and being convicted and then doing it. And not only that, but not making it out to be worse than it is, right? Because that really grinds my gears. If things go better than you expect, make sure you say it. Make sure you talk about it so that someone who might have had a fear, whether that's of needles or even seeing blood. Or maybe they think that they're going to faint. They'll hear from you, a real life person who they know and trust and love and adore.
Yes.
Saying, no, it wasn't bad at all. I was in and out in less than 30 minutes. It couldn't have been simpler. And I've already gotten the notification on my app that it went to a children's hospital in Chapin, South Carolina, and I'm so glad I was able to help.
I love
Like,
that.
Let's make some impact here. Let's make some impact. Let's have some impact. Let's make some changes, and let's try to do some good in this world when it feels like it can go to hell in a handbasket at any moment.
Yeah, we're racing towards it. That's why I'm drowned in fantasy.
Absolutely.
I just don't even want to look
stick
around.
With fantasy. It's an election year. We know we know.
Fill the void.
Yeah, fill the void that you didn't know existed.
Somebody was telling me, I wrote it down. If you told me this, sorry, don't remember. But speaking of the food, I guess I had mentioned Costa Rica.
Okay.
And this was Josie had gone to the Eyelash Girl, and somebody at the Eyelash Girl overheard and was like, "Oh, I lived in Costa Rica for a while."
Okay.
Anyway, she said the people of Costa Rica live really, really long. And there's those pockets in the world of people,
yes.
It's like blue zones or whatever.
Yes, yep.
Where the people live long.
So like 104 is average or something.
And so there's scientists
maybe not
that
average, but you know what I'm
they
saying.
study it. They want to figure out what it is. Is it the environment, whatever?
Is it the soil?
So what they were saying is it's because of the food, because of the food that they eat in Costa Rica is just so fresh.
So pure.
So pure.
So pure.
And so organic. And I just was like, this is amazing to me, and we need to fix the food here in our country. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And Dana, that's not your fault or anybody's fault. I'm just saying it's a problem across the board. We're slowly being poisoned. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think that, remember when it was a real big deal about the food dyes in the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the red. We all know that red's terrible.
Yeah.
So please stop putting it in red velvet cake. But not only that, but it's like, the UK Kraft macaroni and cheese uses natural food dyes for the orange, and America's uses red and yellow dyes.
I find that so fascinating. Right? The amount of food that we allow here that's so crappy.
Yeah.
And then it's literally banned in other countries.
Yeah, it's either banned or they just figured out how to make it without the artificial dye component to it. Like, why are our standards so different? And obviously, we know it's all money.
It's the money.
It's all money, and it's always going to be money. And again, is everybody going to stop buying it?
No.
I'm
still going to buy.
But they did change it.
The Cool Ranch Doritos.
They did change it. Kraft now, I believe the food dyes have been removed, and it's even on the box and the whole thing. They finally met the UK standard.
Okay,
because
Kraft.
enough people made an uproar, and it might just be the one Kraft product that they did it to.
Okay, well at least that's one in our back pocket.
That it just is what it is. Like, and we are not like the healthiest eaters in the world, the organic, the this, the that. Like, no. That's a lot of a cost thing. And I know that some people are going to say, well, you're going to spend that money then in heart disease, or you're going to eventually spend it. But by then, I hope I'm cashing out a 401k to pay for. I'm just kidding. Not really.
But what I think in people saying that, well, if you don't eat all the like fresh good foods, I think that all of it is not great.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think unless you are absolutely at a farmer's market where you know where it was dug up from the ground and who did it, or you're growing the food in your own backyard.
Yep.
Anything other than that is laced with some kind of thing not good for us.
Yeah, we have no clue.
Whether it says organic on the box or on the sticker, I just think we're being fooled a little bit. We're being sold a lie in general.
With buzzwords too, like the fact that people are like non-GMO, but y'all realize like a genetically modified organism could still be like a bell pepper.
Yes.
Because it originally we didn't have all the colors of bell peppers at the beginning of time.
Right.
You had a bell pepper.
Yes.
Then you realize, well, if we grow it in this soil or if we would do it in this thing or whatever,
turn red.
It'll turn this color.
Yeah.
That's still a GMO. Like there's still like a modification happening. I think that the only non-GMO thing is like the original thing of whatever it was. But like anything can be modified. And it doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't even mean it's unnatural.
Yeah.
But you've been convinced that if it says GMO, that they've like sprayed it with like a pesticide that's going to rot you from the inside out or something. That's not what that means. So you need to also be a person who's doing your own research. You need to be someone who's not just allowing a buzzword to frighten you.
Yes.
You need to be digging into that. And I really actually don't know enough about GMOs to pretend like I have any clue what the last 2 minutes were. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, I've read and everything.
Yes.
But you know the Swiss cheese memory
Yes.
ain't the best.
It's not the best.
But I'm just saying, like, a GMO, people think all GMOs are bad. And what I'm saying is a GMO, a genetically modified organism,
could be a piece of fruit.
Could be a natural piece of organic fruit.
Yeah.
It just means that there was like a cross of genetics of sorts happening.
Yes. That makes sense.
So it doesn't always, I'm just saying, it doesn't always mean it's bad. But you would think that it is based on the language and what people have said, and you've just socked it away as such.
I think that's part of the brainwashing of us to be like, it's fine, it's great, everything's good. Look, it's got this label on it. Speaking of, I was talking to Buckley about all of this, and she mentioned Bill Gates, his food line. Do you know about this?
I've seen some rumblings.
So it's Appeal. I wrote it down, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. But so Bill Gates is creating fake food for people to eat. Are we eating that?
What isn't this man doing? I do want y'all, if y'all want to go down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, do some digging, you have a few extra moments and you're not into ACOTAR, you might want to just be like, what's Bill Gates up to?
And why?
I think he owns
so much farmland.
I think he owns more than 100,000 acres in Wyoming. Like, I think he's my neighbor. No, he's in the bougie part of it. He's in like Jackson Hole area.
Hasn't he across the country just gobbled up farmland?
He's gobbling up land, yes. And
so now we know he's
across the world.
Across the world. So he's using this land to now make this genetically whatever grown food. But what Buckley was saying is like, it's not necessarily like real food where it's like we plant the seed in the ground. It's
I'm sure he's using some computer system to do it.
Like it's laboratory-made food.
I have no clue, but I know.
Are we into that podcast?
No, I'm not into him.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not into him. I don't know. Something seems bizarre. And maybe it's just because he is like a brilliant genius. Like clearly he can't get to where he was without having a very special brain.
Sure.
He has a very special brain. Sure. And I do appreciate like all of the stuff you did for computers.
Yes.
Because, you know, they've made some difference in our lives. And I'm man enough. I'm woman enough
You're
to
man
admit
enough.
that.
Your balls are big enough to admit that. I've seen them.
Yep. 2 of them. As opposed to my husband.
As opposed to what?
And so I don't know. It's like this like new world order level of stuff where it's all the meetings of the minds, all the wealthiest people.
Yes.
And I know in friendship groups you hang with your own, right? You got I'm not saying that, but it's just like what's going on?
What's going on?
And how much do they really behind the scenes control the puppets?
I wonder.
Whether it's the government or whether it's the food systems or the economy or whatever. Like, you have so much money, you can't help but have so much power.
So much power.
So much freaking power.
And you have to choose, am I going to use it for bad or for good?
Yeah, and I think that forward facing, it looks like he uses it for good with his foundation. But I think if you look where that money's going, which has to be on public record, I believe, then you're like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But not enough digging that I've done that I can report with any kind of...
Well, our podcasts are smart. They can put their monocles on and do some digging if they want. But again, y'all know...
Put your monocles on.
We're back.
It's been a minute.
Since
I'm
we've
a little
done
tight.
I can barely do it. Me and your father, we can barely move our elbows.
Well, I'm just sore because I had my 100th day of Hilliard.
Oh, 100 days. This girl, Kyle Richards herself, is here in studio. She did her 100th class.
I know. It's really my shoulders that are good. Hold on, let me show those.
Oh, they are.
Very proud of the shoulder growth
that
I'm having. No one can see it. They're like, you're behind a mic. I got it. But that's the part. I still am trying to get rid of this. Yeah. Still, that's
what I was saying to you is like, you have to give your body time to like try to snap back.
Yeah.
You know, because again, the weight loss it's been swift.
Yeah.
It's been swift. And so your body is still, it's got to suck back in like that.
I'm trying to be patient.
Give it time.
I'm trying to be patient
Give
with it.
time. Oh my gosh. Speaking of all that, you said to me, I sent you a reel where the guy said, some of y'all aren't losing weight because God knows how you're going to act.
Oh, yeah.
God knows how you're going to act in these streets if you get skinny. And so he's not letting you lose weight.
Yeah.
And you said, remind me to tell you something about this.
Okay, that's right. Remember when we would hang out with some of our old friend group?
Mm-hmm.
And we, our ex-friends.
Yeah, I know it.
Them. And do you remember what we would say? That we would say if I were to get skinny, that I would be insufferable. Because
I think we did.
Because
yes,
it was like
we did say that.
Yeah,
because we said you already have the big personality.
Yes,
you already walk in a room and like kind of just take over as soon as you're there, and you sparkle.
We call it sparkling. You do too.
And you know what?
We both do.
Who was so sweet to me yesterday and said that was Emily Odom.
Oh, it's so true.
She said, you walked in the room from across the way, and I just felt that you had walked in.
Absolutely. It's a present.
And I looked over and I thought, there she
is. She just floats in like an angel. Just floats in with the long maxi dress, the hair, the halo's in. The face was boot to the gods.
Yes.
You knew you were going to see a lot of people here, and you came correct.
I came correct.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the dress...
Not that you ever don't.
What the dress code was going to be. I didn't know what people were... I don't know.
It's a midday lunch.
I opened my Nuuly. I said, what fits in here? Great, I'll wear this orange dress. I never wear orange, but I did.
It was perfect, though. It looked beautiful on you.
I felt like summer.
Yes, it did look like summer.
But okay, so you're insufferable now because you're skinny.
Right, because, well, what we were saying beforehand is like, yes, that not to humble brag, but like, I have a good personality.
Yes.
I'm funny.
Yes.
I care about people. And then, yes, I do walk into a room, and because of the hair and the whatever, it's like, the heads are already kind of turning.
Yes.
Sometimes out of concern. I mean, out of
shock.
Out of fear, out of whatever. I'm not always saying it's good, but the heads are turning no matter what. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, if I get skinny, watch out, world. Literally, I will be insufferable. Okay? Know that. Because nothing's stopping me then. And instead I got skinny and was like, my titties are sagging and my stomach is falling in front of my vagina.
My booty's flat.
My butt's flat. I have wrinkles everywhere. I had no clue that so many existed on my face. My hair's falling out. Don't worry. Burping from the acid reflux. I'm like, nothing humbles you like this.
Yes.
You're like, oh no, that's the missing piece.
I know.
That's it.
Nothing's as glamorous as we think it is. It's all a sham.
It is. It's a farce.
It's a farce.
We're here to tell you.
It's a farce. You think you want that thing, whatever it is, so bad. And then you're going to get it and be like, well, this kind of sucks.
I'm like, maybe I did like myself fat. I don't know.
Maybe the key is you have to get real skinny when you're in your 20s.
Yeah, maybe it's not exactly at 42.
Yes, because then everything's still perky and it's still tight and the collagen is working.
The gravity's just had so much time to take a number on this body.
Yes.
The gravity has. And even when I'm in push-ups position, like even when I'm like that, like all the skin just falls forward on my body. Whether that, I mean, it's knees, it's upper thighs, it's the
boob
stomach, it's the boob tubes. I mean, some of them damn near fall out of my sports bras because the gravity, and it's just like is weaseling its way out like a snake. Like it's just so thin and malleable. It just wants to find an opening, and the cleavage in my sports bra is giving it to it.
It's a snake coming out of your bra.
It's like this. I go in push-up position. I'm like, nope, I need to pull this back up.
Did you see it? So bad. The reel I posted where it was like, become a mom, they said. It'd be fun, they said. And it was like an orangutan breastfeeding its baby.
Yeah, and it was pulling so hard on it.
The nipples were like spaghetti, like pieces of spaghetti.
Like pink. It looked like silly putty when you used to expand it out. Oh my God, an orangutan nipple. I'm like, I'm not far.
Yeah,
I'm not far.
Your boob tubes are.
Whew. So all that to say, I do wish I had not then in the 20s.
Yeah.
Gravity is doing a number. And
but you know what? It's good. It's keeping
fine.
you
I'm humble.
Yes, it's keeping you from being slutty in the streets, just like that reel said.
Yeah.
It is. It's keeping you grounded. I think that is important.
It is.
Your
It is.
personality and who you are comes from like just sometimes
What you've been through
and leaning into like the quirks about yourself,
Yeah.
the things that are quote wrong,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that gives you the sparkle.
I was very self-deprecating
Yeah.
about my weight beforehand, and now I'm just self-deprecating about the weight loss. Like, I haven't escaped it at all. Like, not yet.
But I can't imagine
And it's
you just being someone that's like, I never have anything
Yes.
ever to say bad about anything. Like,
Yeah.
not that you're a negative person, but you make everything so funny.
Yeah, like, let's keep it light and keep laughing about it.
But it allows other people
Yes.
to be like, oh, I'm going to giggle about this weird thing about myself. And that's a really good thing. So I don't want you to lose that.
And I'm not, because this is what it is now. Like, there's only so much more tightening and toning I can do.
I know, but you have to know, like, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Everybody knows it. Everybody says so. You need to feel great.
I do feel great. Like, I feel great in my body, and I feel strong, and I already know that, like, well, I was voice noting you as I was rolling the garbage can up my hill.
I was dying at that. She was huffing and puffing up her driveway, like, sorry, gotta bring the garbage can. I don't know why I decided to voice note you while I did that. Normally it's my kid's chore, but I thought, well, I'm getting the mail anyway. I'm going to bring one of these up.
Oh my God. I voice note. We left an hour and a half worth of voice notes to each other yesterday.
We did.
What happened is today needs to be tight. We have to stay focused. We had to come in here and record.
Yes.
And because I was pushed up against something and she's pushed up. I'm pushed up in the front. She's pushed up at the end.
Know that.
Yeah.
Always.
The void. And here's the void that she didn't know existed.
To fill the void with today's recording. Okay?
And that's what's here, because Matt's gone, so
Yes.
he's not filling it.
You're filling my void.
You've always wanted to.
My fantasy's coming true.
Oh my God. Don't forget the Greenbrier. Okay.
Yes.
So
But you were huffing and puffing.
I was huffing and puffing because we have such a steep driveway.
It's so steep, y'all.
It's
Y'all
so-
don't even realize. When I
so
leave
steep.
your driveway, when I either have to go out or back out, I am so scared I am going to scrape.
Yeah. Not in your big old Tahoe.
I don't know. I'm like, I got to take this real slow.
If Bella's Mini Cooper and
No,
Honda
I'm
Fit
just
are
like,
fine.
Do
No.
not bang it on there.
If it makes you feel any better, we pull the XP retail van up and out of our
and
driveway.
it's never a problem.
It's never a scratch.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
But it's great for a workout.
It's great for a workout. And so remember when I was training for the 10K, when I'd have to end those miles I was running, I'd still have to come up that damn driveway.
Oh.
Speaking of keeping you humble.
Yes.
So yeah, I had to go down to check the mail for something. I'm like, I might as well bring up one of the cans. I do usually make the kids do it, but I'm like, I'm right here. I'm going to be nice.
But you're also one-handing it because you're leaving a voice note.
But I'm already halfway through it. So I'm just pot committed. And I'm like, oh my God, hold on. I need to regroup. I'm trying to pull up our garbage can up this deep driveway. But it's really important that I talk to you about everything right now because we're not going to be able to chit chat tomorrow. There's so much that we have to catch up on. I mean, we were together yesterday.
Yes,
But we couldn't talk.
It was a flash in a pan. And there
Yeah.
was so much happening around us. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was so much happening.
So much happening. Like, so many little side stories were happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we needed to download each other on all
Mhm.
these things. But I did tell Sarah French's husband that I appreciated his testosterone at the event. Yeah, I did say that.
You're like,
Out
it's
loud.
nice to see a man here. We needed some testosterone up in this room. I'm like, are you good? Like, put down the damn books, you freak. His wife is sitting right next to him and at my table. Chill out.
But she was standing with him. I was like, Sarah, and he's there, and he was so friendly and just like
He is so
a nice,
friendly. He's
normal
lovely.
guy. But he was maybe one of two guys. I mean, here's
Here's what I'll say.
mostly ladies.
Most Independence Fund functions are male heavy. We're talking we're talking veterans, we're talking law enforcement. Like the majority of the things that we go to with the Independence Fund are all men. And I mean strapping men.
Ooh.
I mean, if you're single, go ahead and slide up in an Independence Fund function and go find you a man.
Morgan.
Okay?
You heard it here.
He's right and he's tight.
She needs to go to military events.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
That
buddy.
21-year pension, I'm just saying.
Ooh.
You're set. Okay?
Yes.
So they're mostly men, and I rarely see a lot of women there. So then for this to be a luncheon at the Duke Mansion where we're honoring caregivers of veterans.
Yes.
And we were honoring 4 of the women who were. So it's like, it was a very female-heavy crowd.
It was estrogen heavy.
Yes.
And maybe that just came over me. The wafting of the estrogen. I've already got 2 patches on my belly with the estrogen going in. So maybe I walked in there and just felt like it's too much.
Yeah. Maybe you're just so horned up that you went to the one man you saw and decided to talk about his testosterone and say, thank you for being here. Like a dog on a leg. Kristin's at this function just saying, hey, Mr. French. Hey, Matt's out of town. He left yesterday. Can you tell?
Not Mr. French. Listen, humping his leg is Sarah's job through and through. I am absolutely only humping Matt's leg.
Yes, we know.
But don't even mention smelling other men, because that was one of the first fights Matt and I ever got into. If I told you that.
No, I don't even know if you were actually close enough to smell him.
No, I wasn't.
I was still in between. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm so sorry. She's reading the ATTS books. We're trying to manage this as a team. So just back up, Mr. French. This doesn't involve you, actually.
I'm like, can you grow bat wings out of your back? Turn around. Let me see your back.
Yeah, you look like you could hold them. Sure.
You're tall enough. But no, when Matt and I were dating, we were not even married. We were dating.
Well, that was for 4 minutes. So yeah.
Those few months.
Yeah.
And we had gone to some event. It might have been a Guys with Ties event, I think. We went to another event that summer. And somehow, I think we came in, we had friends there, we were at a bar uptown, and I think I just mentioned out loud, like, oh, I love that cologne I just smelled. It smells really good.
Yeah.
And
Matt was like, so you don't like the one I'm wearing?
Matt was having none of it.
You like that guy's smell better than you like mine?
It was like, why are you smelling other men?
He just walked by. How can you not smell some men? My God, the amount of cologne that they put on.
Oh, I know. Some men really want to be smelled.
They clearly want to be smelled, but like, that should not enter a room before you do.
Yes.
Okay?
And so he was like, you're smelling other men. And so we kind of got into
Matt.
it. I know. So we kind of got into it a little. I mean, not bad, but then I was kind of off with my friends, and then he was doing his thing. And then he texted me, 10 minutes. Now, at this point, like, we're dating, so we're just so obsessed with each other.
Obsessed.
You want to talk humping legs. Like,
okay.
I'm obsessed with this man.
Okay.
But he finally texts me on my, like, Blackberry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the booth if you want to see me.
In the booth? Where's the booth? Where are y'all? At the DJ booth?
No,
was Matt DJing? No wonder you're so into DJs.
DJ Matt Turin. There's a booth, like a section of booths. And so, because I didn't know where he went, and he's like, I'm in the booth if you want to see me.
Okay.
And so, to this day,
oh my gosh,
from literally 2008, we still to this day, we will say that to each other. Like,
I'm in the booth if you want to see me.
I'm in the booth if you want to see me.
Yeah, I guess if you still love me, I'll be over here. But you probably don't want to see me because you want to be smelling him instead.
Smelling other men.
Just use some of your other senses, I guess.
No, I just want to smell my man and his pheromones.
Yes,
I want to get in that armpit.
Don't you like when he's sweaty?
I do.
You like the smell of his
and
sweat.
I just think if you have found your mate, you just want their smell.
Joshua does not smell at all. Ever. He has he pours sweat at CrossFit.
Yeah.
He runs marathons and pours sweat. And you go and you stand next to him and you're like, There's
nothing.
So freaky. There's nothing. It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't smell any. He
just doesn't smell.
He does not smell. When he sweats, there's no scent to it.
I feel like Joshua's inner workings.
Yes. Should be studied.
Yes. Because he's not Mr. like, I eat right and clean.
No, Joshua eats fast food every day of his life.
Right. So
every day.
His body is purging that out of him somehow.
Uh-huh.
And he's still able to perform as a like top tier athlete.
Correct.
Running and doing
Yes.
CrossFit. Now you're telling me he like never emits a smell.
Never.
I don't know. I'm just
like he wears cologne, so you can smell that on him.
Yes.
And I do like the smell of that.
Yeah.
I'm a musky, broody.
Yeah, you are.
I like that kind of smell.
Yeah.
I grew up with my dad wearing Old Spice, and I love that smell.
I love it too.
I really do.
I love like men's deodorant.
Yeah, I love
he men's
uses
deodorant.
the Old Spice Sport or something like that. But like he doesn't even really need it because when he sweats, he doesn't smell.
Isn't that interesting?
But you know he has Lyme. And then and it doesn't affect him, really. I mean, he has a couple limey days a year.
Yeah.
But he doesn't eat right at all. I mean, to get this guy to eat a fruit or vegetable sometimes, I'm like, have you had any this week? Like, not today, not this meal, like this week. Have you had anything that crunches?
And he's still just performing at a high level.
At an incredibly high level.
And he should
be studied. He has 0% body fat.
I was going to say, he probably has no body fat.
Perfect cholesterol.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't make sense. He metabolizes alcohol.
Yes.
But he doesn't drink a lot. But even if he does, he can take, if he wanted to, he could take 20 shots of what? Fireball?
Fireball, that's his fave.
And you know he'll get rowdy.
Yeah.
But like, he'll never wake up with a hangover.
I mean,
he'll never throw up.
I think about that New Year's morning. I feel like he was just fine.
He cleaned the whole downstairs.
Yeah.
He had morning festival. It's crazy. I don't know. His inner workings, he's like a Spider-Man. Like I always say, like when he got bit by the tick,
yes,
it was like the equivalent of Spider-Man getting the spider bite. And it like supercharged something inside of his body and he's superhuman now. It's crazy.
Listen,
maybe it did.
If there's any scientists listening to this podcast, and you should be,
I'm sure we are highly listened to by science. They're like, in this episode alone, let's go back to the GMOs. Let's go back to Bill Gates.
They have to fact check everything we've talked about.
They turned us off. The scientists, even if they were like,
I know who's listening. Psychiatrists.
Okay.
Sociologists.
Yeah.
Therapists. That's the doctors that are listening to this.
Yeah.
They're like, doctors. These two need help.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
offer it to them.
We're gonna tuck it in their pack. Listen,
maybe we can get BetterHelp to sponsor us. They do
say,
all the podcasts.
BetterHelp is a sponsor of all these podcasts. And who better to talk about the need for therapy, the need to get things off your chest?
That's why we started this podcast.
Yes.
Okay, but speaking of sponsors.
Yes, let's hear it.
Speaking of sponsors, I was doing a Zoom HSM the other day because I was waiting on like roofers to come, of course.
Yes.
To access our assess.
Woo!
Assess the damage on our roof. And so I had to do a Zoom workout, which is great. I love the option of being able to do that. And the trainer was saying, oh my gosh, if y'all can see my foot, it is totally black. And I don't know if I've broken it, so I'm just going to do the best I can leading the workout today.
Oh my gosh.
And I could see it on Zoom. I could see how bad her foot looked.
Ooh.
So after the workout ended, I turned on my microphone and I said, girl, you need to download the Herd app. You need to download the Herd app immediately. You need to send them pictures of this and let them tell you exactly what needs to happen.
Oh, yes.
Because I can't be having – she had to teach the next class.
No.
I was like, no, we're
She's
not –
She's going to make it worse.
Exactly. And I said –
So she needs the
send
Herd
the picture. Yes, I said download the Herd app. It's with Ortho Carolina. It's legit.
Yes.
So don't worry about it. They are our newest podcast sponsor, and send them the picture of your foot. Let them talk to you about what needs to happen. Because her thing was, there's no pain. It just looks like this. But she wasn't having acute pain.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, this is the perfect thing because you don't want to go to the ER.
No.
You don't want to go to the ER.
You don't want that time wasted or the bill that's going to come after
for someone to say, oh, yeah, it's not even broken. So it was very confusing. It looked terrible, but it didn't hurt. I said, this is the perfect opportunity to use this app. So she did. She downloaded it. She got on. She sent the picture. The person chatted with her. And they said, because there's no pain, I want you to try this, this, and this, and give it a couple of days and report back. And sure enough, I saw her today in the studio. It looks so good.
Herd app!
Nothing was wrong with it.
Are you kidding me?
It just, for whatever, I mean, something obviously caused the bruising.
Yeah.
But they saved her a trip from going and waiting to be told to elevate and ice it.
Oh my gosh.
So instead, this person said, do that, Let us know in a couple of days. And she was bing, bang, boom, done. She was so thrilled with the service.
Ortho Carolina, you are changing lives. We're changing lives. You guys are changing lives.
Yep. Great job.
Wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
What a testament.
It was so great.
You are a walking, talking billboard.
I really am. I really, really am. And thank you for noticing that.
It's becoming insufferable.
Some would say. Well, to be continued to see if I remain insufferable.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.